We're on bridled mode. I'm doing 10 miles an hour, and I'm just going to punch it from 10. Let's see what it does. Okay. Now I know why they make a GT and a GT Performance. Welcome to another episode of Out of Spec Dave, where I've just picked up my brand new Mustang Mach-E rental car from Avis. And this is the big battery pack, all-wheel drive, and it's a black on black unicorn. Really tough to find a rental car today. What an episode this has been. I'll touch a little bit on that. If you haven't watched my video from yesterday or the day before, pretty crazy. But, you know, listen, I woke up and I was like, how cool would it be if I could actually get a rental car, Mustang Mach-E? Because I just had the EV6, I had the Bolt, and I haven't really been spent much time with the Mach-E. And sure enough, I got myself one here. So, boy, that motorcycle's ripping it over there. But anyway, I'm excited to get into this. Let's have some fun with this Mustang Mach-E. This is the big battery pack one. I think it's about a 99 kilowatt hour total battery pack. But yeah, let's get into it. All right, so here it is. This is the Mach-E 4X with, this again is the long range, big battery pack, I should say, and all-wheel drive car, which is, you know, for Florida to have an all-wheel drive car, pretty cool. Black on black, which is pretty neat. Let's just check this out. This will be my first drive video. And what do we have underneath here? Let's see. Okay. Air pump and nothing much else. Anyway, so this is looking good. Let me see the tires and wheels we have on this car. These are, let's see. These are, what size are these? 225/55 R19s. Pretty good looking wheels. Not bad. Strange way to open the door. Although, I guess you got a push button. But in a mechanism, it's got some kind of a mechanism that pushes out. So in cold weather, that might be a good thing. And it's got a decent door handle. I think I like this better than the EV6, which was a strange thing, or even in the Model Y or the 3. Not terrible on the door handle, although looks to be a little over-engineered. Yeah, I mean, it's a good-looking car. I mean, for those of you who are still on the, hey, it's not a Mustang thing. I mean, whatever Ford did to really put the namesake out there and lay the chips on the line. I mean, you know, this is a good-looking car. They call it, I think they call it an SUV or CUV. I don't think it's that. I think it's I mean, to me, this is a car, sort of like the EV6, very similar lines. Let's check out inside. Look at this, we got some sort of keypad lock combination, which is nice, so you don't have to bring your key. I wish you could just use your phone to connect up, but I was given a key fob, very conventional key fob from Avis for this vehicle, which is, you know, listen, if they're renting out cars, that's the easiest thing to do. They didn't give me very much help in terms of where to charge this thing. As a matter of fact, the guy told me to go over to Tesla and charge it. Nice guy, but he didn't know what he's talking about, because until we have NAC support for this CCS vehicle, that's going to be a tough one. You know, it's just so funny that these car rental companies, I don't want to say anything negative about Avis because they got me a car, but, you know, this is not NACS, this is CCS. So, I mean, I won't have any problems. I'm going to go down to Naples and hang out with some of my buddies down at the Naples EA. I'm sure that'll always be a fun time. We'll see how it is this holiday week. But you know what was crazy was they said that I could actually return this car to them at a 0% state of charge. As long as I roll it in there, they don't care. All I had to do was pay 37 cents. What? I mean, I was like, what? Wait a minute, 37 cents a kilowatt hour? He goes, no, 37 cents, and you could turn it with any state of charge you want. I said, sign me up for that. I'm definitely got to bring it back with a 1% state of charge. Nah, I mean, I won't do that. I'll bring it back with a decent state of charge, at least hopefully bring it back with whatever they gave it to me at, about 48% state of charge. But it's a good looking car, really nice. Ah yes, golden hour. This is when everything looks the best, including a beautiful Mustang Mach-E. Look at this puppy, really looking nice. So I have taken delivery of this car at a 48% state of charge when I actually got it. And I was just a couple of miles down the road from the airport. I'm just over here at this Home Depot right by the RSW Airport, just doing a little bit of filming. Very easy to hook up this car wirelessly to CarPlay, which was great. And I already made a phone call to Kathy and let her know that I'll be coming home with a Mustang Mach-E. Really nice roof here. Glass roof is big, and the seats feel nice. I think these are leather seats. Looks to be, we've got some charging pads, charging USB-C, USB-A. Good layout for the phone, and a couple of cup holders right there as well. Interesting setup here for putting the car into drive, neutral, and what have you. Parking brake here, hazard lights here, sunglasses holder up top was open when I got in the car, and it's a fixed roof. It doesn't go up. This one's got I guess it's got garage door openers there. What else does it have here? Ooh, nice lit. How you doing? And it has, Kathy, you'll be happy that it has grab handles, right? The Model 3 and Model Y, they really need to add grab handles, and they have them in all four corners of the car. This giant screen here in the center, we're going to be spending quite a bit of time with that. I got to drive home. It's already about, what, 5:30 or so, 5:36, and we have dinner plans tonight. But, you know, this screen looks very tacked on. And then this is very similar to what we saw in the F-150 Lightning, with this dial here, and really everything from here down are kind of menu choices that are fixed from what I remember. But they do have this added panel over here, which is quite nice. And yeah, so let me get behind the wheel of this thing, drive it a little bit, and give you my first driving impressions. But I've got myself a Mach-E for the next couple of days. Should be fun. All right, so here I am on the inside of the Mustang Mach-E. This is the long range, all-wheel drive, big battery, 99 kilowatt. I think it's maybe 88 or 90 kilowatts usable. Excuse me, I just had some McDonald's, and I'm drinking my McDonald's coffee. Nice coffee cups, McDonald's, by the way, here on Marco. So anyway, just sitting in this vehicle, very conventional feel. I mean, you have this giant iPad in the center of the screen, which we'll get into. Door, how do you open the door? A couple of my passengers this week, friends that were in the car, as I've had this rental from from Avis, sorry. And for those of you who haven't seen that video, it's a good one. But very conventional sort of window switches, you know, mirror controls, door locks with memory and all that. But to get in and out of the car was a little tricky with the latch, the unlatch. You know, you have a giant glass roof in this car, which is great. And, you know, especially if you're sitting in the back seat, you don't get that much benefit from it when you're sitting in the front seat. But, you know, eyeglasses holder, lights up above, you know, you got grab handles here for Kathy when, you know, the, oh my goodness handles, whatever you want to call them. Just in terms of, you know, again, I'm 6'5", so big guy. This particular model has power seats, very conventional, comfortable. These are leather seats, which are nice. They're heated seats. There's a heated steering wheel as well. The heated seats are they get really hot, and the heated steering wheel works. Not super hot. It's only got one level there. One interesting thing on the heated seats that I've never seen before is an automatic mode on the heated seats. That's pretty cool. You do have this little device in front of the steering wheel that looks at your eyes. And I would imagine that's for Blue Cruise. I'm going to check out the ADAS system later on, but that's a complete hands-free driving system for certain marked roads. I tested that out on the Ford F-150 Lightning that I had earlier this year, and that was a pretty good system. I really did like that. You've got a very small little screen sitting in front of the steering wheel that shows you pertinent information like your speed or your range, what gear you're in, how many miles you have left, and also state of charge as well, both showing that. I like that. In the Teslas, you got to toggle between, do you want to see how many miles the car thinks you have or how much percentage do you have? Here you can see both. This car does have 3 different modes in terms of regen. There is regen off, so it'll creep, you know, when you come to a stoplight, it'll just kind of go forward. There's a L button as well that you can push, which kind of starts to put a little bit of regen into it. And then there is one pedal driving, which is the way I like to drive the car. I love regen. Once you get used to it, you know, for those of you out there who regardless of what EV it is, if you've never experienced regenerative braking, it's great. Years ago, I had a Yamaha 4-stroke snowmobile up in Vermont, and we used to ride skidoos exclusive of the E-Techs, and when you would let off on the gas, those were 2-stroke engines, very clean 2-stroke engines, but they were 2-stroke nonetheless. But the 4-stroke Yamaha that I bought, it was when you took your when you decelerated, you didn't even have to touch the brake. That thing was just like huge brakes. I don't know, the way it was geared or something like that. And in an electric car, you kind of have a similar thing. Now, in the EGMP platform cars, the Hyundais, you've got different levels of regen, you know, all the way from level 0, 1, 2, 3. Then you got I-pedal, which is one pedal driving, and then in auto mode as well. This car gives you 3 different levels, okay? So, you know, Tesla, they don't really give you a choice. It is what it is, and it actually works really well. You've got... Also, you've got 3 different settings in terms of the power that you want to drive the car. And there's whisper, there's engage, and then there's unbridle. And on the same controls menu, that's where you can do one pedal driving. They have this propulsion sound. So if you want to sound like you're driving a real Mustang, I guess you kind of turn that on. That gets turned off immediately in my car. And then auto hold, which is kind of a nice thing. So you can see with the automatic opening rear trunk, when you put the rear seats down, you got quite a bit of room in there. These fold almost completely flat, these rear seats in the back, and you've got, you know, a lot of room. I would say this is like a beautiful hatchback, very practical in the sense that you could easily put a lot of stuff back there. And yeah, I like that. It's pretty good. You can see that it has a power lift gate, which is pretty sweet. And these doors open at a nice angle here, so getting in and out, even with the front seats pretty far back, you know, you can go. Let me see if these recline. And they don't recline, at least not in this trim level. They don't. Little thunk there, not too bad. We got the Mustang logo right there. Conventional window switch up and down, door locks, speaker. What is this? It's a B&O system. We'll have to check that out to see how it sounds. Looks like it might have some nice sort of cloth on the dash here with this B&O system. Looks pretty good. Don't forget a $450 cleaning fee if you smoke in this Avis car. So I'll be sure not to do that. It's one thing I never got into, smoking. And decent mirrors here. Look at the size of this frunk. I mean, this is comparable, I would say, to a Model Y or Model 3. Pretty deep, actually. But it does have this big shelf right here. I don't know if these are cup holders or what we got going on there. And then There's a light inside there. You got your windshield washer fluid right there. Looks like it's pretty well insulated. It's not just metal there. You've got plastic. So, and it seems to be sealed to keep this dry on the inside, which is a nice touch. I like that a lot. So that's looking pretty good. Yeah, this is a 2023. Let's see when this was made. Manufacturer date. July of 2023. There you go. And yeah, it's looking good. And put this rear seat back up. Now, in terms of leg room or knee room, some cars really give me a problem. You would think with this screen coming down as low as it does that it would give me a problem, but it doesn't. My leg sort of knee goes over here. It's really comfortable. I like where the center console is. I feel really really good posture right there. My left arm rests either here or here. The A pillar, I should say the B pillar, is a little far forward, so my arm is, at least where I am, I put the seat pretty far back. I think if you're a normal person, you put your seat up, you're not going to have a problem. But where I put my seat, the back of my arm sort of hits right here, and it's not as comfortable as if I keep my arm down here. Again, these are little niggles, just tiny little things. Really decent sized glove box over here, very conventional. And yeah, I mean, it looks good. On the steering wheel, you've got the pony, right? The Mustang. So don't forget you're driving a Mustang, or are you? I'm not going to get into the whole controversy on the Mustang name. I really am not. Here you've got your settings for your cruise control, your following distance for your adaptive cruise and your lane keep assist. We're going to test that out on the highway. Over here you've got your volume controls, and and again, like I mentioned before, you've got the screen up here which shows you not only the range but also the percentage and things like what gear you're in, miles per hour, and all that. Very nice touch. You don't really need to have a heads-up display just because of where the placement of this is. It's quite high, and then this is that piece that actually keeps control of your eyes as to whether or not you're keeping your eyes on the road for the Blue Cruise. Interior wise, I really like this little fabric here. There's a nice B&O system that's really pretty good. It's got, I don't remember how many speakers this thing has, but it sounds great. And yeah, I mean, I'm really liking this. I think the stitching in the leather seats are nice. You can get cloth seats on these cars, so if you're into that vegan sort of thing, go for it. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of leather seats. I just think they don't age well over time. They've got a home link system up here in this particular model built into the sun visor. Let's just check for Kathy, see if there's a light. Oh, 2 lights. There you go. So that passes the test. Let's just see if this pulls out over here. Yes, it does. All right, that's good. Sunglasses holder up in here. You can see right there, and just conventional. It's regular. It's a I forget what they call it. Electrochromatic. What do they call this thing? Where it auto dims. How's that? Auto dimming mirror. It's not a video screen or anything like that. I know a buddy of mine told me that his mom had a Cadillac, I think an XTS, with one of those mirrors that could either be a mirror or be a video screen, and she fell in love with the video screen. I personally don't like them. When I move my head left or right, I like to be able to see a change in the difference in my eye perspective. But with those video screens, it's always the same. This giant monitor here, this is where you've got all the different controls. So, for example, you've got the 3 different settings for driving the car: whisper, engage, or unbridled. When you go into the unbridled mode, it's interesting on this screen, when you're in gear, the way you put it in gear is you just turn this little dial over here. And I'm not going to go forward here, but cross traffic alert, look at that. That's a beautiful thing. I really like that feature. I wish Tesla had that. But this unbridled, you know, I guess that's the Mac Daddy. That's the fancy, that's the spicy, give it all the beans, exhilarating drive, machine and road align as one. More responsive acceleration and steering. You've got the ability to turn on or off one pedal driving here. This is that low mode button down here that is sort of in between, you know, the no regen and a little bit of regen there. You've got your parking brake here, your hazards here, and so, you know, down in here you've got USB-A, USB-C. I don't believe these are, oh yeah, they give you one charging pad here, but not over there. I mean, how difficult would that have been to just give an extra charging pad? As far as the AC and all of that, what's interesting is this screen here in general, from here up, is kind of, this is where things change, like your sound, your phone lists, driver assistance, all the vehicle settings, general settings and all of that. I'm not going to go through all of this, but what's interesting is from here down, this basically stays the same. They may be able to change it here and there. I haven't played around with it enough, but I remember in the Ford F-150 Lightning as well, you have this bottom section, which is really a combination of your volume control here for the radio, and then also your HVAC systems right over here. And I like this. I think it's really pretty good. It's consistent. It's always kind of there for you. You've got your time and your temperature outside. And this car, I also believe, it throws a Wi-Fi connection as well. Yeah, so anyway, let's go ahead and drive this car, and I'll give you my first driving impressions of it as well. All right, so here we are in the Mustang Mach-E. And I must say that it is very comfortable. The seats, I'm not super thin guy, maybe a little portly, especially after the holidays, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I think it's very comfortable. They're kind of a flat seat. I know that the seats get a little bit slimmer as you go up to the GT. And I do recall that the GT Performance seat, I liked that a lot. I thought that was a really good seat. The GT Performance as well has a different suspension and mapping in terms of acceleration and all of that, that I think, after I was talking to Kyle and I was talking to my buddy Paul, I think it's worth the coin. If you're going to go for the GT, if you can spring for the GT Performance. I love the wheels on the GT Performance, and I think they call it Magna Ride. It's a different suspension. It's actually, believe it or not, a smoother riding car, from what I recall, than the Mustang Mach-E GT. But I'm not in either one of those. I'm just in the long range, the big battery pack, the all-wheel drive version. The car is not slow. I think 0 to 60 is in the 4.8 range, this particular vehicle. I remember when I was with Paul and we did some 0 to 60 pulls. Some of you may remember the video where we did a fun run 0 to 60 pulls versus the GT Performance, Mustang Mach-E GT Performance versus the Kathy's, my wife's, GV60 Performance. And we were pulling 3.7, 3.8, if I recall, in the GV60 Performance, and the Mustang Mach-E GT Performance was pulling 3.5 consistently, 3.5. I've watched a number of Kyle's videos, and I've spoken to him about this car for quite a long time, and I know he had a lot of problems with the charging curve on this car. It took him, back in the early days, I think before they fixed the curve, it took over 2 hours to go from 0 to 100% full charge. Now, of course, on a road trip, you're not really doing that. You're going maybe from 10% to 80%. But even back then, the way the curve tapered, that car was taking over an hour to get up to 80%. And sometimes, you know, especially out where Kyle lives in the remote areas, with the scarcity of the CCS infrastructure, you need to charge to 100%. And so, you don't know what, I mean, on either coast, it's not that big a deal. Although, I mean, here in South Florida, I'm just about to go over the Jolly Bridge here into Naples from Marco Island. Nice little Model 3 dual motor on my left there. But, CCS DC fast charging is far and few between. It gets fun up here. We're going to charge this car today as well. So that's always a blast. Heading to the EA, at the Walmart in Naples, and it's pretty much all we have. It's just not great there at all. So we're gonna have to. Hopefully, it won't be super crowded. Hopefully, we won't have a couple of units down. It's just the anxiety that I'm feeling here as I'm driving up to Naples. I'm at a 26% state of charge. I've got to return this vehicle tomorrow to the airport after just picking it up 2 days ago. And, the fact is they said I could return it with 1% state of charge. They charged me 37 cents to do that. I was like, what is that? Okay, I'll pay you 37 cents for that. But I need to return the car. I mean, that's not right, number one. Number two, I don't want to have to think about, what state of charge I'm at when I bring it back. If I'm too low, am I going to make it? And so I wanted to come up today on Saturday, the 30th, before we leave tomorrow back for Connecticut, just to put some juice in this car. So that'll be fun. I'm be curious to see how this car charges. My understanding is it only charges around 150 kilowatts max, and it tapers off pretty quickly. So not the greatest charging curve, and that's a fault. The other fault with this car is when you're driving it super hard, which is not something I do. But look, this is a Mustang, right? Especially if you're getting the GT or the GT Performance, you want to bring it out to the track, you want to run it. My recollection is that this car overheats quite quickly, and it limits the power, and so you're paying for all this power in this electric vehicle, but yet when the battery pack starts overheating, the Ford engineers, they bring out the nannies and they clamp it down. So let me ask you a question. If you got a Mustang GT Cobra, or who knows what version you got, some crazy Shelby GT 500, and you have 10% fuel left in the gas tank, do you think Ford's sitting there saying, let's give it less power? No. I mean, so why they limit the battery from performing when it's down low in the pack? I understand they're trying to protect the battery. I understand they're trying to protect the number of warranty claims that they're going to have down the road. But come on, I paid for the car. Give me the car. I don't know. I'll get off my high horse there. Excuse me. McDonald's kicking in. Anyway, so here I am. Unfortunately, I don't have sort of the twisty roads around here. The city driving I was just doing back on Marco, it feels great. It's not too big. It's just a super easy car to get in. The door handles are kind of interesting, the way you open them up, and it's my friends were trying to get in the car, and I'm like, hit the button, and so they finally figured it out. Once you get it once, it's like anything else, you learn it. But it's like as you jump in all these different cars, as you're starting to rent I'm starting to rent different cars. I'm like, wait a minute, how do I get in this car, or what do I do here? It's kind of fun. But and if you're a business traveler and you're going on, renting cars all over the country, you know what I'm talking about. You don't have to be a car reviewer to understand what I'm saying. If you buy a car and drive it for 5 years and keep it, you're going to become a creature of habit. So don't worry about the little things that are in there. Visibility out the windshield is fine. Blind spot assist in the mirrors here as I'm driving. I'm just cruising down the road doing about 50 miles an hour right now. I can say that the tire noise is minimal. Above 70, I do hear wind noise over by the side view mirrors, which is, sometimes when a car is really quiet, something jumps out at you whether it's the road noise, the way that it absorbs the bumps, or just, you know, wind noise that you hear. Sometimes you hear it directly from the windshield. Sometimes I'm hearing a little bit at higher speeds in this car, and that's just coming out after being in an EV6 where I didn't hear that as much. And believe it or not, even the Bolt EUV that I just rented, I didn't really hear it, and I do hear it here a little bit. But it's a very comfortable ride. I would say that, you know, it's interesting when the engineers design cars, and you think about a Mustang, right? A Mustang is a sports car, although this is a very practical hatchback where you fold down the rear seats and you got a lot of room in the back, which I like. I like that better than the Model 3, to be honest. This doesn't feel like an SUV to me, though. And I know these things start off in the mid 40s and jump up to over 65, and, you know, for the big expensive ones. And I don't know what the dealers are doing these days for pricing them. Maybe I should stop in and see how the local Ford dealership is charging. Maybe I'll do that. I'm just curious where the market is on these cars right now. Last time I checked, there were a ton of these sitting on the lots, and the dealer that I saw, can't remember where I was, they were still marking them up. You know, I don't know. Dealers just, it's just crazy to me, some of the things. I'm going to make a whole separate video on dealing with dealers. I know it's an old topic. Oh, nice little truck going by with a Model, oh, beautiful, Model X, Bronco full size, and an F350 dually. That's a nice little delivery going down to Marco Island. Somebody's got him a nice Christmas there. Yeah, so look, this vehicle is easy to drive, easy to live with, very conventional. I'm sort of liking the drivability of this so far. So when I get up past Highway 41 up here, Tamiami, I'm on 951 right now. Once I go past the Walmart, I'm going to give it the beans, and I'm going to come back and tell you how some of the ADAS works in this vehicle, and my thoughts about the higher speed sort of wind noise. I'll be back. All right, so let's start off in whisper mode. There are, again, a reminder, 3 modes. There's whisper, engage, and unbridled. And in the whisper mode, they say that it's seamless drive, calm and quiet, just like me. Smoother acceleration and steering, and also better for inclement weather, wet weather. So when I punch it, it's like the computer sent an email to the motor, who then processed it through DMV and then sent the signal to the actual give it the beans. Really delayed. And you know what? I mean, for everyday driving, it's fine. It's you have a lot of play in the accelerator, so it doesn't feel touchy at all. And I think that's maybe what they mean by smoother acceleration. But not for me. Let's go to engage. Engage, boy, instantly keeping my foot right on at a consistent spot in the angle. I felt it immediately accelerate. So there's a retuning of the pedal to the acceleration. It says balanced drive, everyday fun. Maybe that's where you keep it. And it feels more responsive when I give it a little bit of the acceleration. And then if I punch it, there's a slight pause and then it jumps. But there is a slight pause. All right, should we go for the unbridled? I'm going to keep my foot in the same spot here. Interesting. Did not change. Didn't accelerate when I hit unbridled. Let me do that again. Let me just make sure that I'm not feeling something. Engage. All right, I'm keeping my foot in the same spot. Unbridled. It's an ever so slightly, you feel a little bit of acceleration, but it weaves it in from engage to unbridled. Whereas if I'm in whisper, and I'm at a consistent speed and I hit engage, I feel it's a little more abrupt. It's definitely a little more abrupt. So it's interesting that they detuned, at least the way I feel it, they detuned the transition from engaged to unbridled and made that a little smoother. Now, unbridled says exhilarating drive, machine, and rotoline is one, more responsive acceleration and steering. So I definitely feel the steering tightened up. And by the way, the steering wheel is leather wrapped. Feels good, not too thick, not too thin, sort of like Mama Bear. And I'm coming to a stop here, so I'm not going to be able to punch it. But I'll tell you what we're going to do. Oh, the regen feels good, feels really good, very strong. I'm in one pedal drive, and just in drive, not in low mode or anything like that. And all right, now let me go over here. And we're going to let this truck go by us. And we're on bridled mode. I'm doing 10 miles an hour. And I'm just going to punch it from 10. Let's see what it does. Okay. Now I know why they make a GT and a GT Performance. Nothing to write home about. Not embarrassing, okay? But when you're used to driving I won't even pull the Model X Plaid into it, forget that. But like even my wife's Model Y with the $2,000 acceleration boost, that thing jumps. When you hit the gas like that, the acceleration, it takes off. This car, I don't know, a little bit of a delay. I mean, look, they've got to be able to justify the higher level trims and the sporty performance. So I'm not surprised this doesn't wow me in terms of performance, but at the same time, it's not embarrassing either. Look, it's got the Mustang logo, it's got the Mustang sportiness and all of that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. The acceleration is fine. I don't really have anything bad to say about that. Anyway, back to the EV, the Mach-E Mustang. Really, really smooth car. Now let's check out this ADAS system here. We're gonna do. I don't need to be in unbridled mode. Let me go over here to controls. Here we go. Controls. We'll go to engage. All right, and there we are. Now I'm going to see there's a little blue light that comes on, I believe, when Blue Cruise is activated. Now I'm going to try turn signal here. Not changing the lane. It's saying keep hands on the wheel. So now it's ready. I take the lane. I still have my turn signal on. Let's see what happens. I have to turn the turn signal off. And has it re-engaged? Yes, now it just re-engaged. Okay, now if I look away, let's see what happens. Oh yeah, watch the road. There we go. But I'm not sure if this is Blue Cruise or not. I don't think it is. I think it's just the standard, whatever they call it, the ADAS system that does lane centering and an adaptive cruise. Now, as we approach a stoplight coming up here, I'm going to hover over this because I definitely don't want to slam into those cars. All right, it's staying in the lane. Going way too fast here, way too fast. I'm hitting the brake. Okay. Not good in terms of it. The car should have seen that there were stopped vehicles right here, and it should have braked earlier. That's dangerous, in my opinion. So I would be careful with the non-mapped. I don't even know if Blue Cruise would have done anything better there, but that wasn't good. But it has what I would consider to be basic ADAS system. So again, listen, not much more to say about this car other than, the pricing. which I can go over here a little bit. Well, anyway, thanks again for watching another episode of Out of Spec Dave. This time I had a lot of fun with my first drive and my first charging session on this Mach-E, which was horrendous. Just not good. I mean, really think about your use case before you buy a car. I know we're in that transition phase where we're almost ready to move to NACS. And look, Jim Farley was the first one to recognize that, you know, he could not rely on the infrastructure that's in the ground. I think we proved that today with what we saw. So clearly they're moving in the right direction, strategically the right direction. But what does that do to help you today on December 30th? Nothing, right? So you got to sit there and really, you know, feel the pain. So until the adapter comes out for these Ford products, or for whichever car that you're thinking about buying, or the whichever car you have, where you're going to be able to go and charge at Tesla, you know, Tesla just works. But it's going to be super interesting to see how crowded these Tesla superchargers will get. It's also, Tesla has never really supported, up until Magic Dock, although they have supported multiple cars in Europe, to be fair, and they've seemingly done that well. So I would bet Tesla's going to get this right, and I think they are going to come to the rescue of the entire North American industry with respect to EVs, because we can't live like this much longer. I think these are the darkest days for electric vehicles that are non-Teslas right now, and I think things are going to start to get better in 2024. 2024 is going to be a major transition year for electric vehicles other than Tesla. And for Tesla owners, it's going to be a, you know, something you're going to have to get used to, seeing other cars pulling up, charging at your superchargers. But I think we're all going to get along. We're all going to get along super nice and make the transition together, because EVs are fun, right? Anyway, thanks again for watching another episode of Out of Spec Dave. I've enjoyed this Mustang Mach-E. I got to make one more video with this car to drive up to the airport with Kathy, and we'll get her impressions. So watch for that video coming up shortly. Thanks again. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.